Hello and welcome in. This is Stuck in the Catch Fence for all you brand new Bush Bud Light drinking virgins. We appreciate you joining us as we are getting ready to go through the throwback weekend. It is that time, the Goodyear 400 here at Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina, or as Joe would pronounce it, Darlington. That's how he typically says it, Darlington.
Darlington.
I was told that's how you're supposed to say it.
Now, I'm not going to say it like that because I'm from, I'm actually from Ohio, I guess, but I live in Indiana. I've been fully adopted. I've lived here for years. I'm going to say it like I haven't.
That's a claim that typically you yourself don't make if you've been adopted, but normally we the adoptee will let you know that you're adopted, not the person
What,
being adopted.
would you say that I am a faithful Hoosier? You've known me for a number of years.
Collegiately?
No, no, we're not talking about that.
Yes, Joe, you're adopted. As much as we try to beat the Buckeye out of you, I would say that you're decently adopted. Are you okay? Is your earpiece going okay? Is the Secret Service getting in on you, or what's going
Yeah,
on?
red. I just keep hearing red team go. I got to look in the bushes. I don't know really what's going on. I think I'm okay. I think only one of my earpieces is going to work tonight, but that's okay. I can't hear out of one of my ears anyway. I just got to change my earpiece that is giving me sound into the ear that I could actually hear out of. So
Well,
nothing's really changed.
no. I'm gonna silence my phone because even though I push silence, it doesn't. So we're all having wonderful
What was
technical
that
skills.
ESPN alert you just got there?
Well, we're waiting on the Bengals schedule.
All right.
Obviously, we're excited that the Bengals got a bye before going into the playoffs, playing the Chiefs on Week 17. So that was
Yeah.
very kind of the NFL to do that, Joe. So we're excited about that. But moving to Sunday, I have a quick question for you, and I did
Okay.
not tell you this before we got on air because that's how we do things. If you yourself were a driver, what would be the throwback scheme of your choice as a driver if you could go to any paint scheme in the history of NASCAR?
The all black Goodrich Service Plus.
That did not take long. With the
No.
three on the side, I take it.
Yes, with the three on the side.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't care. I don't care what the late wife says. I'm using the real number three. I don't care what Teresa says. I'm using the three.
Okay. That makes sense. I would go with the this was a one-off and Kenny Irwin drove it, and this would be pretty much impossible to get due to the licensing. But he drove a Joker car that I thought was just the bee's knees. Yeah, are you allowed to say that? The bee's knees?
The bees.
Do-
I think if you're over 65, you can say that.
Over 65?
Yes.
Okay, so like if you watch Matlock before you go
Yeah.
to bed
No.
at night,
So
you're allowed to say the bee's
yeah,
knees.
and I coach football. I coach elementary, middle school, and high school football, and not once in the last well, I'll say my whole coaching career, have I ever heard any kid at any age come up to me and say, Coach, you know what? That's just the bee's knees. Never
Well,
once.
it sounds like you have a lot of uncultured swine that you're
Yeah,
coaching
I mean,
nowadays.
maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure that I've ever used that term. That may have been a Joe Spillman first saying the bee's knees.
Can I show you what the Kenny Irwin scheme looks like for those that have never seen it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So tell me when you can see that, Joe.
Oh, man, look at that.
Now tell me that's not a good looking paint scheme right there.
That's pretty. That's pretty.
Yeah. So licensing would never, ever, ever allow that to happen. So we don't have to worry
You
about
know, I
that
feel
ever happening.
I feel like for Darlington Throwback Weekend, everything, all copyright, all intellectual knowledge infringement, anything that's throwback that involves NASCAR should just be suspended, and NASCAR say, you know what, you could do whatever you want.
I bet NASCAR would be okay with that. I'm not sure that DC Comics and everybody else around it would be the ones okay with that. Because
Yeah, okay.
otherwise, we would just show all of our stuff on YouTube and wouldn't have to worry about copyright infringements
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. When Daddy YouTube says you used a 2-second sound bit from something that's copyrighted and you now have a copyright strike, that's pretty much what happens to NASCAR, especially if you're Teresa Hernart during Throwback weekend at Darlington.
Yeah, and it's a ton of that being shelled out.
That 3 is curved too much.
You think they get their triangle out or
I do.
their 90-degree angle?
She is not a good woman. Now she's
It's
probably going to
definitely
sue me.
possible.
She's probably going to sue me because she's sue happy. But yeah, news to her, you're not getting much. You're going to get my '83 Jeep parked out back. Needs a new carburetor.
That's
Good
a
luck with
damn
that.
good '83 Jeep, Joe. So don't ever put down that '83 Jeep. It's still running strong. But if you made it this
I had
far,
to walk to work this morning.
that's because your wife was mad at you. If you made it this far, like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. We have a ton to show you. We're going to go through each of the Darlington throwback paint schemes. It's going to be a little bit of a different show this week. Typically, we break down the news, but there wasn't any news because the only thing that anybody in the entire world cared about was the fact that Ross Chastain punched somebody in the face. And let me just go ahead and tell you this. For all of you Facebook warriors and all of you people that don't like to see somebody get punched in the face, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Quit being a P word, a pussy willow if you were a plant, and get over it. It's just grown men.
A kumquat.
In today's day and age. Yes, exactly.
Quit being a kumquat.
Thank you. Thank you. And some of you dickweeds out there, stop it. Just stop it. This is what the sport was built upon. If you don't like it, go watch soccer. If you don't like it, the NBA had a player last night barely get hurt and leave in a mother effing wheelchair. Go watch it. Go watch it.
Hey, I got something to tell you, Ryan.
What's that?
As you know, we have a TikTok. Now I'm not even sure what the hip TikTokers are calling it.
God.
We have a TikTok account, page, whatever. If you're on TikTok, search Stuck in the Catch Fence. We really just put all our shorts up there, some really good recs. But, you know, we put a short out with the Ross Chastain Gregson fight, and it showed a really good angle, and we even had some slow-mo in there, watching the connection. I mean, I've been like working on my hook all week, you know. Yeah, just slow motion. Anyway, I put that on TikTok. Now, my experience with TikTok, I don't get on TikTok too much. I'm not a huge TikTok fan. But when I have got on TikTok, the things that I see are I don't even know how to explain it.
Turn you religious?
So yeah, no, I'm just going to use common language. Most of what I see is about 20-year-old girls trying to show their boobs dancing around half naked. And sometimes it goes a little bit farther than that, but whatever. That's, I understand, like the oldest profession in the world, that sells. Whatever, I'm good with it. But I put a NASCAR fight on TikTok, and it gets taken down because of community guideline restrictions on TikTok.
Yeah.
I appealed it, and Stuck in the Catch Fence did win its appeal against TikTok. They have put the video back up. But I just thought that was absolutely asinine, that you can dance on TikTok naked.
Right.
But you can't put a NASCAR fight on there.
Right. And then if you want to profit or make any money off of it, you know, that's why I told my mom to go to OnlyFans. So we're going to dive right in to what's that, Joe?
What's the username?
We'll get to that off air. She's not really
Your
proud
mom's
of
gonna
it.
I hope your mom doesn't watch this, because now she's going to be pissed.
The bad thing is, Joe, she'll probably put in OnlyFans having no idea what that is. And this year really get pissed.
Don't do that.
Mom, black flag, stop. To go to pit lane, don't go to OnlyFans.
You are going to the World of Outlaws by yourself.
That's how I got to buy this new computer, actually, was through OnlyFans. So
yeah. He only has one subscriber too, and I know who it is.
Yes, it's me. #_ Buffalo Bill. So let's jump into today's throwback presentation, where Joe and I will go through and look at all of the paint schemes that will be displayed for this weekend. I think that is the best part of the throwback weekend and probably the entire year is getting to see the different type of throwback cars that we get. Some of them, have a lot more background to them than others. And let's see if we can go ahead and pull them up real quick. I've made a slideshow if you can't tell from the beginning. And Joe, let me know whenever you're able to see it because I cannot see you.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So the first one we have is Ross Chastain throwing it back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Joe, I will have you rate this on a 1 to 10 scale, each throwback. I will start it off. I think this is a solid 7. I think this is a pretty good looking car, a pretty good throwback. What do you say with Dale Jarrett's number 88?
Well, I'll tell you what. Any other driver, I'm going to give it a solid 7, maybe an 8. You're absolutely right. That's a good looking paint scheme there. But the fact that Ross Chastain is driving that car, I'm going to give it a 2.
And Joe will be the newest member of hashtag Split Melon. So, moving forward, we now go to Kevin Harvick. And see, nice enough for the folks at, oh my God, Stuart Haas. I just totally lost my train of thought there. They let you know why they have the throwback. So to me, Joe, that kind of looked like a Jeff Green throwback. I don't know what it looks like to you, but it says it's his planned Cup debut scheme. So this is what they went with. I like Sunny D. I don't like the green number, but that being said, it's a pretty solid paint scheme, so I'm going to give it a 7 as well.
Yeah, I like that, and I like Sunny D. I actually didn't know that was Kevin Harvick's planned paint scheme. Kind of cool. I don't think we've ever seen it.
I wonder how many Zoomers we have right now, Joe, going, what the hell is AOL?
I'm actually, I'll be honest with you. That's why I have so many internet problems, because I had like 13,000 free, air hours, free time through AOL, and I haven't used them all up. And by God, I am going to work on that until they're completely gone. I think I got 87,000 hours left.
You guys have no idea the hell we go through to edit this, because every 10 minutes you got mail and it's either spam or another porn invite. So it is what it is. So moving forward, we have this throwback. It is a kind of an old school color scheme throwback. It's not really to a specific car, but this will be the one that Brad Keselowski is running. I love the Castrol GTX cars this year that RFK have been throwing out there. It doesn't go to a specific car, but the fact that it does remind you of the old Castrol GTX paint schemes from back in the day, I'm going to give it an 8 because I like the color scheme.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't dislike this car. It's a pretty cool looking car, actually, but I'll tell you what, I really like Throwback Weekend, just like the Kevin Harvick car we just saw. Yeah, we've never seen that before, but, this is his last season. That was the planned paint scheme that he was going to come into the Cup Series with. That's awesome. Yeah. I really think Throwback Weekend should be used for Throwback Weekend and not just say, hey, this kind of looks cool. That looks like an F1 car to me. I take it back. I give it a 1.
Oh, my God. Here we go. All right, so we're on polar opposites so far. That's the way I like it. Now, this one right here, first off, Spire Motorsports, good job. You guys did great when it comes to your throwbacks. I love the fact that they were able to put both numbers on the car, the 7 and the 11. This will be for Corey LaJoie. I'm going to give this a 9. They incorporated the 3D looking square. It's about as close as you can get to that old school. I'm guessing that's a Legend car. Yeah. And that is just a beautiful, beautiful paint scheme, keeping it in the LaJoie family. Congratulations, Spire Motorsports. The Don LaJoie throwback with Corey LaJoie driving it, I'm going to give that a 9.
That's a beautiful car. I'm going to agree with you on this one. I'm going to give this maybe a 9 or a 10. This is awesome. That's
the only thing I would say, Joe, is I wish they were allowed to do the white rims. The white rims would have set it off.
Yeah, that would have. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to find. I wonder if you're going to be able to get a die cast of that car right there, because I'm going to try to find one.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to have to get one. I'm going to win
Yeah.
our competition and make you get me one.
I will re-roll and definitely not air that. That's for sure. So moving on, Chase Elliott will be running his father's paint scheme, and that is his father in the middle winning at the 2002 Brickyard. I know it's got a backstory to it. To me, this is a boring paint scheme. So I'm going to give it a 3. I understand it's a nod to his dad. His dad ran a ton of paint schemes. Why they would choose the most boring one, I have no idea. They got the number. That's about the only thing that is like kind of cool because they don't have that type of graphic, the Chip Ganassi cars, back in the day. So, or excuse me, Ray Evernham. I'm going to give it a 3. It just doesn't do a lot for me.
Yeah, it's kind of a plain Jane paint scheme, really. But I'll tell you what, I like the nod to his dad. I think it's pretty cool. I think getting the original Ray Evernham 9 on there is pretty cool as well. So, the Bill Elliott 9, I don't know. I like it. I'll give it a 5.
A 5. That's fine. So it's more sentimental value.
Yeah,
than it
yeah,
is
I like
curb
the
appeal.
idea of it. I like throwback to older drivers. And, I mean, to be honest with you, when you're Chase Elliott and you could throw back to your dad, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. They should have done the McDonald's one with the
I don't
McDonald's
disagree
at
with
night.
that. That would have been awesome. I would have
Yes,
probably given that a 10.
That definitely would be up there.
Bubba Wallace would have been pissed.
So this is a cool one. I
Hey,
like the
McDonald's would have actually been in victory lane for the first time, and or at least a chance.
8 out of 10 joke from Joe Spillman. Congratulations on that one, Joe. This one I really like. This is from the All-Star game when the MLB partnered with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And again, I just like the way they were able to replicate it almost verbatim. They got the baseball player running down the side. It's a cool paint scheme. These are my two favorite sports combined. So I'm automatically going to give it an 8, regardless if it even actually looks like crap, but I don't think it does. So I'm going to give Eric Almirola's Throwback to Dale Jr. an 8.
I love the paint scheme. However, anytime I see the number 10, I just think of GoDaddy going into the wall. It doesn't matter what's on the car. I think Danica into the wall. She wrecked again, 3rd lap, 4th lap. She's done for the day. That's all I think about. But I do like the paint scheme. I will say that.
What number?
I'll give it a solid 7.
A 7. Okay. But you're right. There actually will be a lot of cars in the wall this weekend. So that actually won't hurt Eric Almirola's feelings probably because there's going to be a lot of Darlington stripes to go around. Yeah. But on a white car, it might just look a little bit worse. Mm-hmm. So this one right here, this is a throwback to when Denny Hamlin had a throwback 2 years ago. So it's a pretty neat looking paint scheme. They just now have it on a next gen car. I'm going to go with 6 because it lacks originality. And I feel like they could have done more trying to throw it back. But this is where we're at.
I'm middle of the road on this. I'll give it a 5.
Moving on.
Ooh.
Now, see, this is where I have kind of an issue, Joe. I love Dave Blaney's sprint car. But when I first saw this, the color's off. And when I first saw this, I just thought it was a normal Menards Ryan Blaney car. I don't think that it replicates the paint scheme from his dad because they still had to use the Menards yellow. So I'm going to go with 3 on a terrible missed opportunity.
Yeah, the color's off. I like the idea, and they kind of got it. I mean, I feel like, if you're going to replicate that, you almost need to that's a darker blue or a black on that sprint car, and then obviously gold, not yellow. And I feel like the roof should probably be black as well to replicate the wing with gold trim on the front post there. I don't know. I don't. I mean, originally I saw it. They got the pinstripe right.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. I actually like the way that the car looks. I mean, if you don't look at what it's replicating, but you're absolutely right. I think they missed this one. I'm going to give it a 3 or a 4, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, and we give Dave Blaney an 8. That's a cool looking sprint
car.
That is,
yeah. I'll give that a 10. I'll give any sprint car a 10.
So
that
this
actually
one
has
right
paint
here is
on
a
it.
pretty solid looking one. This is when Tony Stewart won the Turkey Night Grand Prix that Chase Briscoe will be running. It's kind of when you first look at it, I think a lot of people, Joe, without knowing that this is from a Tony Stewart car, will go, "Why the hell is the 14 running a Jeff Gordon paint scheme?"
Right.
And I think without the backstory, you won't know that. I wish this is the only thing that I would change, Joe. I wish the numbers were in silver to go with the tractors and kind of the spoiler, because I think that would be pretty badass looking to set it off. I don't like the highlighter yellow 14. So I'm going to give it a 5, but I do think it's a pretty cool paint scheme. I just unfortunately think it's going to be remembered as a Jeff Gordon paint scheme and not a Tony Stewart.
Well, you know who will know the backstory? People that are watching this video right now. So you just learned something, and you learn something on this show every week. So go ahead and tickle that subscribe button.
That's right.
But
Or get punched in the face by Ross Chastain.
yeah, I've been working on my hooks. I can't tell. So in the sprint car, and obviously I've never seen that sprint car before. That Grand
It's a
Prix,
big ass sprint car. I will say that.
which I guess it's not technically a sprint car. I don't know what color that number 9 is in that picture. Obviously, because
It would be darker than yellow as well.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think that color yellow in a black and white picture would show up white. I would think maybe. I don't know though. I still like that paint scheme. The kids are gonna love that. That's pretty good. It looks like a Hot Wheels car.
It does look like a Hot Wheels
Yeah,
car.
I'm gonna give this an 8. I actually really like it.
Oh, okay. So an 8 for him. Here's another good one. I like this one a lot, and I don't say this a lot, as in like ever. Rick Ware Racing, another good job on your throwbacks.
Yeah.
You guys inspire. I think really nailed it. This is a Bobby Allison throwback, and I think it's badass to have Bobby Allison hold it up of Brennan Poole as well. I think they did about as good as you can get to show an older car like Bobby would have drove in this. So I'm automatically willing to give this a 9. I think they did almost a perfect job replicating it to the best way that they can. Bobby Allison has a picture with it as well. And actually, Brennan Poole's not a bad looking guy either. So I think it's an 8.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually love this. I think that this would actually been a good paint scheme for Ryan Newman this week. But I like it. I'm going to give it a 9. This is cool.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. 8's probably too low. I think you're probably right.
I might even give this a 10. That was not. That was cool.
So this one, this is a 1. This is what we will see from Chris Buescher. They're throwing it back to Matt Kenseth, and the only thing that they did was change the font of the 17.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is about as lazy as you can get without just having a normal paint scheme.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 0. That's terrible.
Suck on that, Chris.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's how you do an actual throwback to Matt Kenseth, Joe.
Right.
Is you actually replicate the car. That being said, this might be one of the ugliest Kenseth cars I think I've ever seen. I do not think that's a flattering look out of all the DeWalt cars that we've seen.
I don't know. That reminds me of 2007. What year was that car?
This is when he won the championship, so I believe it is 2007.
Nailed it.
You'll have to we'll probably get fact checked, but
yeah.
It is a good looking car. The thing about this is, to me, look how different the cars are. Look how much space is on the back of the Matt Kenseth car. And Joe, that's why the racing back then was so much better. It's because there was no aero play.
And that's also, if you look at that, that's also why every time one of those cars turned around backwards, they flipped in the air 15 times and then came down on their roof.
That's true. That is very, very, very true. So I'm going to give this a 7. I think it's a great throwback. It's not my favorite car, but I'll give it a 7.
I'm giving it a 9. I like it.
Okay. All right. So this one might be my favorite. This is Harrison Burton throwing it back to his dad. I always liked the 99 Exide car. I think this is going to be a sharp looking car. I don't think this picture gives the credit that it will look like on the track. So I'm going to give this a 9.5. I absolutely love this car. I love the fact that they're throwing it back to what his dad did. So Harrison Burton and the Wood brothers, good job.
Yeah, and they got the lettering right. Not exactly the same paint scheme there if you look at the leathering, but um, I like I said, anytime you could throw back, if you're a race car driver, you could throw back to your dad's race car. That's awesome. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
This will be a car that a lot of people will remember. This is from Jeff Gordon. This is not Chase Briscoe's car. So this is the, I don't know what you would call this, bronze chrome, something of that nature. It's not my favorite Jeff Gordon paint scheme, but it's a very memorable paint scheme, and I think they did a great job with the colors of it. So I'm going to give it an 8 for that reason.
Yeah, I like it. I'll go with that. I mean, there's nothing I can say bad about it. I mean, it's going to be the identical paint scheme. So I
Joe, there's
think
probably going to be a lot of die casts of this car being bought.
yeah.
I'm guessing.
Now the Axalta there, the original paint scheme, I don't think that was the same A, um, through the rainbow maybe, but well, that's not even a rainbow through the stripe, the multicolor stripe there coming through, but it's pretty dead on. I like it. Yeah, I'll give it a 7.
Here's a throwback to Richard Petty coming out
Ooh.
from Eric Jones. Obviously, Richard Petty, part of the ownership at Legacy Motor Club. So this is what they decided to go. We didn't have an actual car rendering. We had just a fake car rendering. I like it. It's not the best Richard Petty paint scheme. It's pretty bland. I think the colors will probably look pretty good on the Eric Jones car. So I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, looking at that Richard Petty car there, I wish cars would go back to doing the number on the roof. That just looks so cool. I don't see any reason why NASCAR can't do it now. It's not like they sell sponsorship up there. I'm sure the throwback car here doesn't have the number on the roof, or they would have shown that. But I mean, the number on the roof just looks so cool to me. I think it, kind of gives that quintessential, retro NASCAR look. But I like this. I mean, I'm not going to fall over myself over it. I'm going to give it a solid 7.
Moving to what is just a personalized throwback, and this was 2311 honoring Kurt Busch. So they have KB on the top. I think it's a pretty cool modern looking scheme, but it's not retro to me. So I'll give it a 2 for it not being retro, but I think it's like an 8 for just a cool car scheme.
Yeah, it is a cool car scheme, but I'm going to give it a 0 on the throwback. I think some of these teams have forgotten what this weekend is. It's not just come up. I mean, this is the third team. It's not just come up with any sort of crazy paint scheme you can come up with or any idea. You're supposed to be honoring past drivers or past people in the sport, and this just doesn't get it for me. I wouldn't say Kurt Busch right now is a past person in the sport. I think he'll be back, and I don't think it's time yet to be honoring him with a car.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. And there are some rumblings, we didn't call it in the news, that there will be a third team at 2311, but until that's actually officially announced, those are just rumors. So moving forward, we have Todd Gillen throwing it back to Elton Sawyer in the Serial 1 vehicle this weekend. That's a very nice looking early 90s scheme. I like the Barbasol car. The front one, it seemed like they got the colors a little bit off with it not being dark blue. That's how I always remembered Barbasol as being dark blue. But overall, a solid paint scheme. I'll go with a 7 on this one.
Yeah. 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 I'll go. This is an okay looking car to me. I'm not real excited about it, but yeah, I'll go with a 6 or 7.
This is a throwback right here for Ryan Preece to his dad and his late model car. I like the idea. I don't know how great the execution looks. It just, to me, looks like a bland car, so I will go with a 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 4 too. I think it's cool he's honoring his dad. Late models even look a little bit different these days, so I don't know. It doesn't really catch my eye. I'm not really excited about it.
This one right here, Joe, might end up being one of the best ones if we see it in person. We again have another rendering from Legacy Motor Club. This is a throwback to the 2014 Coca-Cola 600 by Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's car is at the bottom right, and that's a beautiful looking car. If it resembles anything close to that palette, that color scheme, I'm going to go with this one being an 8.5 because I really do like that color.
I like it too. It's great, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to give it a 1, and here's why. This is why people didn't like you and don't like you, Jimmy Johnson. You take over a team and you create a throwback paint scheme to yourself. Come on, man. Come on. That's about as arrogant as you can get. I'm giving that a 1. It is a cool paint scheme though.
Here's a throwback to the same car, but I think a worse design, as Ricky Stenhouse will be throwing it back to Dale Jr.'s car. He'll be using Country Crock, which is a delicious butter substitute. And I don't think they hit the mark the same way that Ross Chastain did, so I'm going to give this a 5.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I like Dale Jarrett. I actually like that car.
Maybe it's the grilled cheese on it. It just feels weird with a big old thing of grilled cheese on the side.
It is, and the colors are off, and that's huge for me. Like, if you're going to do a throwback car, get the colors right. I understand you can't use the same sponsors, but, you know, why is Country Crock? Why is that not in gold or yellow coloring? You know, why is it a lighter brown? You know, just things like that. The numbers off, which I know it's hard to look at a font when you're talking about a 47 and an 88. I think that this misses the mark. I just don't actually see the throwback in this car, to be honest with you. It looks like a completely different car. I don't see any of that 88 UPS car in it. This is going to be a 1 for me, 1 or 2.
What's amazing too is you look at Dale Jarrett's car in the contingency panel with all those sponsors, and then Ricky Stenhouse, and then put them on the deck lid, which you will probably not see the entire race.
Yeah.
So whatever. Here's a throwback to the spotter. I believe it's Hamlin is his spotter who had a throwback himself. Now, I am a 28 car fan. I don't like the idea that they're throwing back to a spotter's throwback. So that story, I think, is dumb. Just throw it back to Davey Allison or Ernie Irvan. But if I go with a car, I got to go 10. It's my favorite paint scheme out of any car is a 28 Haviland drove by either Davey Allison or Ernie Irvan. So I'm going to go a 10 with the actual car.
I like it. I don't know if I'll go a 10. But I do like this car. I'm going to give it a solid 7.
I am biased. I will admit that. So, mentioning Ryan Newman, he is throwing it back to himself the first time that he comes back to NASCAR with Rick Ware Racing, driving the Ford Taurus Mobile 1. And I will say this, they nailed the actual car. I mean, it is verbatim. This is like you said, Joe, this is what you're looking for. You want the paint scheme to be right. You want the colors to be right. I don't think you can mess it up any or replicate it any more than this. So I will go a 7. It's not the most exciting paint scheme, but I do think if you're going to do it right. And I think Rick Ware Racing did.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one a 10, actually. You're absolutely right. This is what I look for in a throwback car. I think it's kind of cheesy that Ryan Newman's throwing back to Ryan Newman. I'm sure he didn't make that decision, or maybe maybe he did when, you know, maybe that was the sales pitch. Hey, we'll let you throw back to your own car at Darlington, which is kind of cool. I will say, you know, that this is what you're looking for, I think, in a throwback car, something that replicate. I mean, that looks like Ryan Newman's Mobile 1 car, you know, different sponsor, but that's exactly what it looks like. And you got to give this a 10 because, you know, this is what you're looking for in a throwback contest, which we're doing.
This is a throwback to a one-off. Bubba Wallace will be running, or excuse me, this is Ty Gibbs. I apologize. Ty Gibbs will be running a one-off paint scheme that Bobby Labonte had, and this is a throwback to Joe Gibbs when he was elected into the Football Hall of Fame. So I'm guessing Are we allowed to say this is a Redskins? Are we allowed to say that? Is that okay? Nobody objects? This is a Washington Redskins color scheme. And that being said, very horrible looking colors. I do like Shriners Hospital and all that they do, but when it comes to the actual colors and the look of the car, it's a pretty damn ugly car. So I will go with a 4.
I like it. I'm going to go with a 4-2 because
I like it.
it's
It's also a 4.
yeah, it's Ty Gibbs, and no, I do like the car. I'm going to give this a 7. But thanks for getting us canceled because you said Washington Redskins, and as you know, they're the potatoes now, and you can't say that.
Yes, I was obviously referring to the vegetable grown in the ground.
Right.
Another of the Spire Motorsports throwbacks. This is a throwback to Joe Lee Johnson. It looks amazing. The way the color scheme is, the font is perfect. You got the horsepower on top of the hood. The way the old school sponsors go on the back, 10.
I think that this is a cool looking car. I like that font on the numbers. That actually reminds me of Tyler Martin Truex's Jr. Martin Truex Jr.'s old number font, but I don't really I can't see Joe Lee Johnson's car there. I can't think of what the actual paint scheme was off the top of my head. I'm just going to assume it matches. I'm going to give them an 8.
This is a really cool throwback too. This is the Quaker State car being drove by Daniel Suarez, going back to the Quaker State car drove by Ricky Rudd. So I think this is a really nice looking throwback. The numbers are pretty close to the same. Those are not the typical 99, so I'm guessing that's the same font, even though it looks slightly different than the 26 that Ricky Rudd has. The color scheme's there. It's cool that they're using an old school sponsor. So I'm going to go an 8 on the Daniel Suarez machine.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9. So I'm right there with you. Again, exactly what you're looking for, I think, in a throwback car is the throwback paint scheme. And these cars, other than, obviously being different generations of cars and what have you, it looks almost identical to me. I like it. The green may be a little off, but we are also looking at an older picture. So
Right. The paint scheme for your boy, this was a Tony Stewart nationwide car, and I did not find the actual car itself, Joe. So with the only thing I can knew it was coming. It is a badass looking car, so I'm going to give it a 9. I can't pull up the previous car. I will give the benefit of the doubt to Hendrick Racing. They typically try to replicate things almost as closely as you can get.
That is amazing. That's an amazing. Did you say this was a Tony Stewart nationwide car?
It is a
well,
Tony Stewart
that was
car.
an amazing looking car too. If it looked like this, I don't even care what era this was from. This is an awesome looking car. He should stay with that paint scheme for the rest of the season.
I would not disagree with you at all. It's a very good looking car. This is another throwback right here for Joey Logano, and I love the paint scheme on this. I'm actually going to give this a 9. I like the old school numbers. I like the coloring of it. I think it's bright, it stands out, and I think it'll be easily recognized on the track. So I'm going to give this one a 9 as well.
Yeah, me too. 9 or 10. This is awesome.
And that is it when it comes to what?
Nobody threw back to Jeremy Mayfield?
No.
I thought maybe like the cocaine car, Katie on the front.
I got in touch with Darryl Strawberry. He was supposed to be the pace car driver, throwing back to Jeremy Mayfield, but unfortunately could not
Lawrence
get it.
Taylor was riding in the passenger seat. Jeremy Mayfield was gonna be the honorary starter. I tell you what, they were gonna keep him up all night.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we were unable to get that, and that's a missed opportunity.
It is,
but it is what it is. Actually, Joe, I did forget one. Let me share it with you real quick. That Kyle Busch is actually going to have a throwback with RCR, and they did this on their Twitter. They're throwing it back to Kyle Busch's first win at RCR running the Lucas Oil machine. So I did not want to miss that one. So there you go. A 10. And if you actually watched it, Joe, the Twitter page. It was actually pretty funny. Throwing
That,
it back to Kyle Busch's first win with RCR on February. That showed the car.
we're going to throw it all the way back. We're going to take a key piece of NASCAR history here and throw it all the way back to the second race of the season.
It does seem like a long time ago, if that's fair.
That's dumb.
So,
Dumb.
whatever, Joe. Haters gonna hate. But
Yeah.
that wraps it up. Tell us what your favorite car is, please, in the comments below. We would love to know if that is something that we could possibly work out whenever we get to our 500 subscribers. Maybe your throwback will be the diecast that you get. No, not you, Joe. The people actually listening, watching this channel, not you.
And maybe
Maybe.
Saturday night we'll do a betting show and give you our drivers for the week.
Yeah, so you can win money. I mean,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
Well, Joe, now it's to the point where I want to talk about this weekend when it comes to Darlington. This is another time for you, the listener, to be able to participate with us. Looking back last week, Joe, I'm sure you don't want to, but the drivers that you picked were Bubba Wallace, Martin Truex, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and because I'm very generous and because I have a dominating lead, I let you choose a sixth driver, which was Brad Keselowski. Those drivers got you 5 points. Myself chose Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, which I was told I was very dumb for choosing Toyotas, and then Kyle Busch. That got me 9 points, including the win, obviously, with Denny Hamlin. So currently in the standings, we are at 69 and 51. Would you like to go first, or would you like myself?
No, I'll go first.
Let her rip, Tater Chip.
Eric Jones, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr.
Holy shit. Denny, MTJ, Joey, and what was... I don't think you said that in the last one.
Martin Truex Jr.
Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, and...
Well, who do you think?
No, Kyle Larson.
I only have to give you 4 drivers.
Do what?
I said I only really need to give you 4 drivers. Eric
That's
Jones is outside the top 20, correct?
Yes, by a wide margin.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I'll go to the first 2 drivers that we both share, and that will be Eric Jones and Kyle Larson. So those will mark each other out. And then I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick. Again, another driver that likes to run the high line. I think will probably be pretty fast. I also debated with Denny Hamlin, Joe, so that's probably one I'm going to regret. And I made the prediction last week. I said Denny Hamlin was going to win this weekend or last weekend's race. He ended up winning. I have William Byron on here, but that's not the winner that I'm going to choose. So my 5th driver and my prediction to win the race in his last season will be Kevin Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick will find a way to get to victory lane. He has been really, really good here at Darlington, and I think has shown speed all year, and I think he'll be able to get it done. So stamp of approval for Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, I think Kevin Harvick, it was hard for me not to take him. He's a 3-time winner. But I think, Eric Jones, obviously he has 2 wins here at this track, and that's like a gift outside the top 20 as long as he can stay in the race. So
as long as Chevy doesn't screw him, Joe, for announcing they're going to Toyota.
Right.
So a quick breakdown. What are we expecting from Darlington? Number 1, this will be a tire track. Anytime they have an opportunity to get tires, they will get tires. There is only about 1.5 lanes. The 2 turns are very different, Joe, because of why? Do you remember the history of why there are 2 different turns?
Yeah, one of them is supposed to one of the turns is supposed to replicate one of the turns at I want to say Talladega, but that's not right. One of the turns at Talladega replicates another track. Or am I way off here?
You're way off.
Okay.
Whenever they were building this speedway.
Oh, the pond.
Yes, the minnow pond.
I knew it. The minnow pond. Yes. Yes.
Yes, the owner did not want to get rid of his minnow pond and would not allow the Darlington Speedway to be built with the exact same shape of turns due to the acreage. So the minnow pond is the reason why one turn is a pretty wide turn. The other one is much more, it's not like a paper clip, but definitely a tighter banked turn. And again, there's about 1.5 lanes you can run. The Darlington stripe is something that happens almost on every car. So as good as these cars look with their throwbacks, expect to have some of the right side torn off. And these cars, if you're into diecast, always make one of the best looking race winner cars because they will be somewhat tore up by the end of the race.
Right, and so the banking at Darlington is really kind of ferocious as well for that narrow track and the speeds that they reach. I had to look it up here. Turn 1 and 2 are at 25 degrees. Turn 3 and 4 are at 23 degrees. The front straight has 3 degrees of banking, and the back straight has 2 degrees of banking. Oftentimes, Darlington has kind of been known as not so much of a super speedway, but kind of the father of the super speedway. So that's really where, kind of replicated. So we'll see some high speed. We'll see some people into the wall. Darlington's always a fun race, and I don't care what car you're using, you can't mess this track up.
No, you're absolutely right, Joe. And one of the reasons because of that is it's banked like a super speedway, but due to the fact of the way the turns are and the corners are, you will hear drivers. If you get the NASCAR Premium this week, hashtag not a sponsor, listen to the drivers. I mean, they are out of the throttle almost the entire time, just trying to ease that baby through the corner, not to tear up their tires. This is an endurance race. It's only 400 miles, unfortunately, for this week. But typically the 500-mile race, there's comers and goers, and it's a great prequel to what we will have soon in the Coca-Cola 600 because typically it's not the best driver. It's the one that was able to last the longest.
Absolutely.
So, Joe, you mentioned it. Plan on doing a betting show this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I may or may not be going to the Indiana Grand Prix, Indianapolis Grand Prix this weekend. That is yet to be determined. I may go up there. So I think it's supposed to rain. I don't want to be stuck in the rain, but I may be going to catch some Indy cars on Saturday, but I should be home Saturday evening, and I'm all about a betting show.
Yeah. So, well, if you do go up to Indy, enjoy your boring racing.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Anything else before we sign off?
No, I don't think so. Great show. It was fun.
It is fun. Throwback Weekend's always a great time. We had a wonderful time with Kansas. Let's keep building upon the momentum. We had some great numbers here on the channel. Thank you guys very much. Again, all we ask, like, subscribe, put in your comment your favorite driver or what your favorite throwback is. We're trying to give out a diecast car at 500 subscribers. We're on the way there. We'll keep building the way we have been. It'll be another great week.
Yeah, so, I hope you have me back next week.
We'll see. That's to be determined. My name's Ryan Peters, possibly coming back next week, Joe Spillman. This has been Stuck in the Catch Fence. We'll see you next time.